Hello, Jeff Danskin here. Today what I wanted to talk about is a subject that has really concerned me, not just recently, but over the last few years. And that is the absolute hatred that people have for the President of the United States, Donald Trump. You know, we saw after Donald Trump gave his State of the Union speech, Nancy Pelosi ripping up the speech right behind him, right in front of the whole world, showing such disrespect for the President of the United States. It's not just Nancy Pelosi though. I see so many people across the country that don't just hate Donald Trump. They hate people that support Donald Trump. And that's what concerns me. When we see such a large portion of the country that has such hatred for the other side, you're in jeopardy of possibly having a civil war within the country. You know, we're nowhere near that, but we're heading in that direction with this absolute hatred. Donald Trump was on a TV series called Apprentice. My wife liked listening to that show, so because she liked it, I was kind of forced to sit there and watch it. I did not like Donald Trump. I thought he was arrogant. I thought he took joy in humiliating and firing those people, and just really not a very good person. That was my feeling. So as I give this presentation, I want you to tell you that I didn't start out as a person that liked Donald Trump. All right? And I want to make it clear that my goal during this presentation is not to get anybody to change who they're going to vote for in the 2020 election. This is not meant to be a political speech, but you can't hardly help but talk about political stuff to address the hatred that's going on within America. So if you're someone that finds yourself hating Donald Trump, I don't mean disagreeing with his policies. I don't mean kind of, disliking him a little bit as a person, but I'm talking about unadulterated hatred for him and hatred for people that will support him. That's my target audience today. And if you're that type of person, you're the person that I want to talk to and I want to address today. I hope that you'll listen to this with an open mind, all right? What if I was to suggest to you, make a suggestion that President Donald Trump was actually appointed by God? What I want to do during this video is show you that that is not only possible, that is probable. Now there was a guy named Kim Clement. He actually died at the age of 60 on December of 2016. But he gave a prophecy 2.5 years before the 2016 presidential election. He gave this prophecy that I want you to listen to. It's very short, that he made it before Donald Trump or Hillary had even put their names up for the nomination of the President of the United States, all right? It's important to know that, to actually show that we do have prophets from God in this current day and age. Was a prophet of God. So with that, let's take a moment to listen to this prophecy.
But he said to me, he will restore the fortunes in this nation. This man will throttle the enemies of Israel. This nation shall come very subtly, but he shall not come in the time of President Obama. But he shall not come in the time of President Obama. They shall come when this new one arises, my David, that I have set aside for this nation. A man of prayer, a man of choice words. For the enemy will do everything in his power to put a witch in the White House. They will shout, impeach, impeach. That this shall not happen. That this shall not happen.
Now, after listening to that prophecy and seeing that God was talking about an individual, he did not use Donald Trump's name, but he compared him to King David. How do you compare Donald Trump, this guy on Apprentice that seems arrogant, with King David? Well, let me tell you, if you don't know much about King David, he is the one that slayed Goliath. He spent his whole career conquering territory for Israel. He absolutely loved his country, and he would do anything for his country. But King David wasn't a perfect man. One of his faults was the love of beautiful women. What he did one time while he was back in his palace, he saw a woman taking a bath, a shower outside. That's what they used to do. He was overlooking a high palace, and she was a beautiful woman, and she was the wife of one of his commanders in the army. Well, he had her brought over to his palace. He had sex with her, and he got her pregnant. After he found out that, what he did is he told that commander to come home from the battlefield so that he could sleep with his wife, and it could look like he got his wife pregnant, not King David. Well, this commander would not sleep with his wife while all his buddies were out there fighting. And so King David's devious plan didn't work. So he had to step it up a notch. And so what he did is he sent that commander back out into the field, and he had a note. And he said, send him to the front line, and then I want everybody to back off so that that commander would be killed in battle. That's the same as King David murdering himself. And that's what happened. He did kill him. And God was displeased. And a prophet came to him and told him how displeased he was. So God can use people that aren't perfect. He has to. None of us are perfect, right? But he has a lot of similarities with Donald Trump because he loved God. He loved his country. I didn't look at Donald Trump and think of him as a man of prayer. But that's what Kim Clement said in this prophecy, that this was a man of prayer. Let's look at some of the things he said. I have found a man of my own heart, like King David, that I have set aside for this nation. A man of prayer. A man of choice words. Now, nobody can deny that Donald Trump is a man of choice words, all right? He makes fun of everybody, and that's why some people hate him. You know, he demeans people, he calls them names, he tweets, he says exactly what's on his mind. And then what we want to look at next is, he said the next president will restore the wealth of this nation. Now, if we look at the S&P 500, this is since Donald Trump came into office, there are record highs. You know, I just even last week, this week, Nancy Pelosi was saying that the economy is really not as good as everybody says. That's crazy. That's a lie. It's the best it's been in my lifetime. Everybody's 401k is higher. Unemployment for all sectors. If you're rich, if you're in the middle, or if you're low, if you're black, if you're Hispanic, if you're white, if you're Asian, unemployment, anybody that wants a job can have a job in this country. Everybody's pay has gone up. Businesses are prospering and they're hiring more people. All right? This is a good thing. And this is another sign that the prophecy that Kim Clement got from God about this new president is being fulfilled. Now let's look at the next thing. We can check that box, right? The next president will restore wealth. He has done that. All right. Now the one thing that we want to look at next that he says, this next man will throttle the enemies of Israel. Let's take a look and see if he has done that. We know that during the President Obama administration, that President Obama gave Iran $150 billion, not for them to not create a weapon, but to delay their creation of a nuclear weapon. Now the reason that we can't have Iran having a nuclear weapon is because they have openly said when they get one, they're going to use it to wipe Israel off the face of the map. All right? These people believe there is a holy war that's going to take place. And after it gets started, their savior, their Mahdi, is going to show up and wipe out Israel and the infidel, which, by the way, is us. These people are killing thousands of Christians on a daily basis. They're killing other Muslims that don't agree with them. They have Hamas and Hezbollah that they fund to do all their killing. Now, what they did with that $150 billion, instead of building up their infrastructure and giving money to the people, because the people of Iran, they're good people. Many of them are wonderful people. They just want a job, they want to survive, they want to have a place to eat, a roof over the head like anybody else, right? But the regime is horrible. They gave this guy with all this money, he took that money and just started a spree of killing all across the Middle East. He has killed thousands of Muslims across the Middle East that disagrees with Iran. There's Sunnis and there's Shiites, and they don't get along either, all right? And so Donald Trump, after they had all this, he had to do something to stop them. And so what I want to do is I want to play a short video of what Donald Trump did.
I am announcing today that the United States will withdraw from the Iran nuclear deal. In a few moments, I will sign a presidential memorandum to begin reinstating U.S. nuclear sanctions on the Iranian regime.
Now, after Soleimani created all this problem, killed several Americans and thousands of other innocent Muslims, Donald Trump had an opportunity, because he knew from intelligence that Soleimani was planning strikes on other American peoples abroad. He decided to make the decision to take him out. And so let's listen to that clip.
Last night, at my direction, the United States military successfully executed a flawless precision strike that killed the #1 terrorist anywhere in the world, Qasem Soleimani. Soleimani was plotting imminent and sinister attacks on American diplomats and military personnel, but we caught him in the act and terminated him. Under my leadership, America's policy is unambiguous to terrorists who harm or intend to harm any American. We will find you, we will eliminate you, we will always protect our diplomats, service members, all Americans, and our allies.
I find it amazing to find the response of Nancy Pelosi. And this response can only be from someone who absolutely hates Donald Trump. Because this guy, Soleimani, was worse than Osama bin Laden. And here is Nancy Pelosi's response. American leaders' highest priority is to protect American lives and interests. I think that's why he killed him. But we cannot put the lives of American service members, diplomats, and others further at risk by engaging in provocative and disproportionate actions. This guy was killing thousands. How's that disproportionate? He had plans to kill other Americans abroad. Her statement makes no sense at all, other than she just absolutely hates Donald Trump and wants to make him look bad. So I think it's safe to say we can check the box that Donald Trump has throttled the enemies of Israel. And we also can check the box to say this is not in a time of a President Obama, all right? Because that's, remember, the prophecy was in February of 2014. Now, to continue on, you know, all the people, I mean, the Jewish people in Israel are God's chosen people. And all the presidents listed up here had the opportunity to move the U.S. Embassy to Jerusalem, but they decided not to. It was only Donald Trump that decided to move the U.S. Embassy to Jerusalem. And he did that on their 70th birthday. You know, it's obvious that the Jewish people are really happy with Donald Trump. They even made a coin, the Temple Institution. Elizabeth got me this coin. This coin is of Donald Trump on one side, along with King Cyrus. For those that you don't know, in the Bible there was after Israel had been conquered by the Babylonians, they needed to have the funds to have it rebuilt, and that was done by King Cyrus. And so they're comparing, from Israel, they're comparing Donald Trump with King Cyrus, and he was a big part of Israel. And so that's significant. This is the on the mount. You know, they projected the Israel and American flag together, another symbol of how much they appreciate what Donald Trump has done for them. Let's take a look at a video where Donald Trump recognizes the Golan Heights.
In a moment, I will sign a presidential proclamation recognizing Israel's sovereign right over the Golan Heights. The state of Israel took control of the Golan Heights in 1967 to safeguard its security from external threats. Today, aggressive action by Iran and terrorist groups in southern Syria, including Hezbollah, continue to make the Golan Heights a potential launching ground for attacks against Israel, very violent attacks. Any possible future peace agreement must account for Israel's need to defend itself from Syria, Iran, and other regional threats. We do not want to see another attack like the one suffered this morning north of Tel Aviv.
But Israel has never had a better friend than you. Thank you for your leadership. Thank you for your friendship. And thank you for all you have done to make the alliance between America and Israel stronger and greater than ever.
Now, it's hard for us as Americans to really recognize how important it is for Donald Trump to recognize this. You see this map I have here. This is the Golan Heights here. Doesn't look like a very big area, right? But it's colored the same as the color of Syria. Whoever made this map certainly did not recognize the Golan Heights as being part of Israel. But Donald Trump recognized it. That they conquered that land. It's rightfully theirs. And what's so big of a deal? It's for two purposes. One, it's strategically a high point where you can overlook all of Israel. And so you can't have your enemy owning that territory. But within the last 10 years, they've found enormous amounts of natural gas and oil, making it a very rich and a very valuable thing. When Donald Trump did that, Russia was just furious, as well as most of the Arab world, because they don't want Israel having that. They would rather have that. There's enough natural gas and oil right in this area here to fund all of Syria. You know, so this is a big deal, and it's very likely that this particular piece of land will be what causes what the Bible refers to as the Gog and Magog war. So Donald Trump is fulfilling that prophecy of how he treats the Israel people. Let's look at what the Bible says about this. This is in Genesis 12:3. I will bless those who bless you. Who's that? The descendants of Abraham. And I will curse him who curses you. And in all the families of the earth shall be blessed through who? Abraham, the Jewish people. So there's a principle within the Bible for God that he's going to bless the people that are good to Israel, and he's going to curse those that are bad to Israel. That's why with Donald Trump doing all this stuff for Israel, our country is being blessed and being prospered. Let's take a look at our charts again. But the next one on the list was enemy will try to put a witch in the White House. Now, again, remember, this is 2.5 years before the election. And this is a prophet of God speaking from God's word, saying the enemy, I want to pay close attention to this, enemy will try to put a witch, who? Hillary Clinton, into the White House. Now, that's not me saying that. That's a prophet of God speaking for God, calling the people that are trying to elect Hillary Clinton as an enemy. You need to, if you're believing, and you see this prophecy that was made 2.5 years, and it's being fulfilled to the T through the President Donald Trump. If you believe this is from God, and you were a supporter of Hillary Clinton, and you absolutely hate Donald Trump, you need to take a close look at your position, all right? I'm not saying this to be demeaning or saying, hey, yeah, well, I'm right, I'm a Republican, we're on the right side. No, if you have hatred in your heart, you're on the wrong side. People that are in the military, They have access to classified information and knew exactly what was going on. While Hillary was Secretary of State, you would actually know how many rules she broke. Anybody else would be put in prison. That Benghazi thing was a fiasco. She could have sent help to save those people. Instead, she demanded that they stay put and they don't do anything. That is bad enough. But then they turned around and they lied about it. They said some video is the thing that started all this. That was an absolute lie, and they got caught in it. She had a classified email server that she had classified stuff on that she had destroyed. You can't do that. She protected Bill Clinton with all these scandals of women he had sex with in the White House, and she protected him. She's supposed to be for women's rights? How can she be? Bill and Hillary Clinton had nothing when they went into the White House as far as finances. They came out with over $200 million serving the people. There's only one way you can do that, and that is by taking bribes, that you will do something because of the position you've been given for money. Not a little money, a lot of money. Ever since Donald Trump got into office, they've been trying to kick him out. They had the Russian collusion over a fake dossier. They should have looked at that within 2 weeks and said, hey, this thing has no basis, and shut it. But once you start that investigation, it was probing. They're trying to look for anything they could to get Donald Trump. They couldn't find anything, so then they investigate this thing and they impeach him over something that was not correct. He wanted a corrupt government and to look into what was going on. You know, if this was the only country he did that to, you could say, hey, maybe something's there. But the United States has had a policy of paying our enemies money for no good reason. We've done that in Afghanistan. We've done that to North Korea. We've done that to Iran. And Donald Trump has been going to all those people and say, should we be giving them money? We pay 10% of the money to Ukraine. And he's just questioning that. He knows it's corrupt. Take a look at it. He's done that with all the countries that we give money to. So this particular one, they said, hey, he can't be doing that just because Joe Biden, who was part of the corruption, his son, and you know Joe was part of that, was part of the corruption there. This guy had no talent at all in what they were hiring him for, making millions of dollars. That's corruption. Donald Trump's looking into corruption. You know, 2.5 years before he was even elected, the prophet was saying they will say impeach, impeach. How can you not believe this prophet that Kim Clement came up with? Every bit of it was spot on. We've pretty much checked all the boxes. All right, Kim Clement died. He was able to see that Donald Trump was elected. He died of an aneurysm, brain aneurysm. Now, could be God said, you know, this was your task. You did what I told you to do, come on home. I don't know why Kim Clement died at age 60, a prophet of God. In this particular case, he seemed to be spot on accurate. Let me show you a few more things about Donald Trump. He was born in June 14th, 1946 on a blood moon. He was born 700 days before Israel was reborn as a country. For those of you who don't know, in the Bible, 7 is a number that represents completion or perfection. He became president when he was 70 years old, 7 months, and 7 days. He recognized Israel on its 70th birthday. What I want to bring out, it started out this presentation by talking about the absolute hatred people have for Donald Trump. Not just a few, but millions of people across the United States. And they hate the people that support the president. I mean, hate him just bitterly. Here's what the Bible says. This is what Jesus told us. A new commandment I give you, that you love one another as I have loved you, that you also love one another. You know, it's all right to disagree on presidents. It's all right to not like Donald Trump for some of the things he does. But I want you to ask yourself, what has Donald Trump done that has personally affected your life in a negative way? Probably nothing. He's probably, if anything, made your life better. There's no reason to have this bitter hatred toward a person, a president of the United States. He's a family man. He's got a good family, a beautiful family, a talented family, and he's trying to do the best he can for this country. God is the one that put him in charge. And if you hate someone that God anointed for a particular time, you got to question yourself if you're on the wrong track. Try to pray for him for a minute. It's hard to hate a person that you pray for. It's all right to pray for a president that he will lead this country in the right direction. All right? Pass this on if you know somebody that absolutely hates Donald Trump and hates Donald Trump supporters. Pass it on to them. See if they don't understand that this is God's chosen person for this particular time. All right? God bless.